Welcome back students to our new YouTube channel PharmaX Tech, the division of excellence. So we are in the chapter of parenterals. So let's start to the part 3 of the parenterals. So in the first two parts we see the some basic and some important concepts of the parenterals. So in the part 3 we discuss about the most important concepts for GPAT from the chapter of parenterals. So let's start. That the suspension is not directly injected into the bloodstream because it contains insoluble material, and this insoluble material causes the blockade of the capillaries. And in the parenterals, in that the vehicles of greater importance is water. So there is much more importance of water in the parenterals, and the dose which prepare in the parenteral dosage form, they are generally made up of water, or the water is distilled water or sterile water. And the most important is these parenterals, the sterile water is, it should be free from the ions or pyrogens. So the water is used in the parenterals for injection is should free from the ions or any of the pyrogens. And also the preparation of water for injection by distillation or by reverse osmosis at 200 to 400 psig temperature occurs. So there is a question in GPAT: preparation of water for injection by distillation or by reverse osmosis at which temperature? And the right answer is 200 to 400 psig units. The next more important is methods of, in that first one is compression distillation. In that compression distillation, it compresses the vapor and also raise its temperature to approximately 107 degree Celsius. That means 107 degree Celsius temperature rises increasingly in the compress distillation. So the second more important method is vapor compression. So in the vapor compression, still are available in capacity of 50 to 2800 gallon per hour. So in the vapor compression, there is stills are available in capacity of 50 to 2800 gallon per hours. So the third method is reverse osmosis. So the reverse osmosis takes place at 200 and 400 psig, and in that the cellulose ester of polyamide remove bacteria and fungi. So the reverse osmosis process is takes place in water. So you have the purate in your home for the water purification process, and also can't you use any of the filter for water filtration. So there is a process of reverse osmosis takes place, and this process of reverse osmosis gives you the clear and best water for your daily use and for your drinking of water. So the reverse osmosis is the most important process in water filter, and same process is occurs in the parenteral. So because there is water, and the distilled water or the sterile water is much more important for the patients. So if bad water or contaminant water is going through the body, then patients, this water affects the patient's health. Okay, so next we discuss about the storage and the distribution. So as per USP, water for injection is at store at 80 degree Celsius. So as per United States Pharmacopoeia, water for injection is stored at 80 degrees Celsius, and also as per USP, water for injection is stored at room temperature, but this room temperature but maximum for 24 hours, and these discard within 24 hours. That means discard within 2 to 4 hours, and in the storage in tanks, and these tanks provided with hydrophobic membrane, ventilator filter, and this process removes the bacteria and non-viable materials. And also the purity of standard water for injection and water for injection is not more than 0.25 endotoxins unit per ml. So in the GPAT there is a question for the purity of standard water for injection and water for injection is not more than, and the right answer is 0.25 endotoxins per unit per ml. And next one is ionic content. So the ionic content of water is measured by the conductivity meter. So every ionic test is measured by the conductivity meter. And also the conductivity measurement gives no indication of pyrogen content because the pyrogen are undissociated organic molecules. And in the wet chemistry test they are used when water for injection is packed for commercially distribution and for standard water for injection. And also the water for injection and standard water for injection, they may not contain the added substances, that means bacteriostatic agents. And also the water for injection, they may contain one or more suitable or and antimicrobial agents in containers of 30 ml or less than 30 ml. And also the bacteriostatic water for injection is a sterile water for injection, and these bacteriostatic water for injections containing one or more suitable bacteriostatic agents. So next we see the aqueous vehicles, and these aqueous vehicles includes sodium chloride injection, Ringer's injection, dextrose injection, lactated Ringer's injection, and these are all NaCl, sodium chloride injection, Ringer injection, dextrose injection and lactated Ringer's injection. They are all isotonic vehicles of the aqueous vehicles. So next one is water miscible vehicles. So the water miscible vehicles, they are ethyl alcohol. The ethyl alcohol is used for the cardiac glycoside injection. So there is a question in GPAT, which agent is used for cardiac glycoside injection, and the right answer is ethyl alcohol. And also water miscible vehicles like polyethylene glycol and propylene glycol. These polyethylene glycol and propylene glycol, they are used for the barbiturates. So the third one is non-aqueous vehicles. So these non-aqueous vehicles for certain hormone preparations, and they are fixed oils, and these fixed oils origin from the vegetables. They are corn oil and cotton seed oil. So the cotton seed oil is used for hormone preparation. So there is the question in GPAT, which oil is used for the hormone preparation, and the right answer is cotton seed oil. And in that peanut oil, and also non-aqueous vehicles in that sesame oil. So the sesame oil has antioxidant property. So next we see the routes of administration of the parenterals. So in the parenterals there are 10 routes of administration. So the first route is intradermal, next one is subcutaneous route, your intramuscular route by muscles, and intradermal route means for your skin, subcutaneous route means beneath the skin, and intravenous route means your from veins. The injection is given through the veins. Intraarterial means your injection is given by the route of artery. Intrathecal, in the intrathecal route, the injection is given by the spinal cord, and intracisternal and intraarticular and intrapleural and intraperitoneal and intrasystemal. These are the routes of administration. So which are the routes of administration? So one shot: intradermal, subcutaneous, intramuscular, intravenous, intraarterial, intrathecal, intracisternal and intraarticular, intrapleural and intraperitoneal. These are the routes of administration of parenterals. So the next we see the some substances. They are the added substances. They may improve the safeguard, and added substances, they act as a preservatives, and also they prevents the physical, chemical and biological degradation of the products, and also they effect the solubility and the effect of solubility, examples like sodium benzoate and caffeine. And also the stability can be enhanced by using, so we see the some stability enhancing methods. By this stability can be enhanced by using the antioxidants, and they are sodium metabisulfite and also inert gases like N2 and CO2, that means nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and the chelating agents like EDTA and buffers like citrate, acetate and phosphates. These all agents enhance the stabilities. They are antioxidants like sodium metabisulfite, inert gases like N2CO2, chelating agents like EDTA and buffers like citrate, acetate, phosphates and your tartarates. So next we see the excipients used for the commercial parenteral products. So the excipients used for commercial parenteral products, their first one is antimicrobial agents. So the antimicrobial agents are classified into two classes. They are first bacteriostatic and fungistatic, and they added in multiple dose container, and these antimicrobial agents inhibit the growth of the microorganisms in a products. And as per account to USP, the examples are of antimicrobial agents. They are phenyl mercuric nitrate 0.002% and thiomersal benzethonium chloride and benzalkonium chloride 0.001% is added, and phenols, cresols and chlorobutanol. So these phenols, cresols and chlorobutanol at 0.5% in antimicrobial agents, and also phenyl mercuric nitrate 0.02% and methyl p hydroxybenzoate 0.15% and propyl alcohol 0.02% and benzyl alcohol 2%. This benzyl alcohol is used in a frequently, and also hexyl resorcinol and phenyl mercuric benzoate 0.1% moderately bactericidal. So this hexyl resorcinol and phenyl mercuric benzoate, they are moderately bactericidal at of 0.1% is added. And also in oleaginous preparation there is no antimicrobial agents is effective, and in a single dose container and in a bulk pack these does not contain the antimicrobial agents, and these agents used promptly after opening or to be discarded. And in a large volume single dose container, these large volume single dose container, they does not contain the antimicrobial agents or any type of preservatives. And also the special care must be taken during the storage of such products like the total parenteral nutritions. So in the total parenteral nutritions, storage care must be taken. So storage and also the packaging of these total parenteral nutrition products must be taken, and packaging also, and also they need some temperature of refrigeration. So also they also provide the temperature of refrigerator for total parenteral nutrition. So this total parenteral nutrition, they are nutrition products, and so you take this total parenteral nutrition in a very diseases. So in case of dehydration, you take a Glucon-D or glucose. So this glucose or Glucon-D is a total parenteral nutrition products, and also the ORS, oral rehydration solution, is also is a total parenteral nutrition for your health. So and also next we see the contamination in parenteral products. So in the contamination in parenteral products, there are two types of contamination in parenteral products are occurs. They are types such as chemical contamination and physical contamination. In that material and equipments, in the preparation area, after the preparation area, save this in aseptic filling area. So in the preparation area, sterilizations occurs, and is in aseptic filling area quarantined, and after the quarantine then finishing of products and packaging. So after the quarantine, finishing of products and packagings, then after finishing and products of packaging, then clean up the area and storage and shippings takes place in the Parentera products. So next we see the some permitted limits of particulate matter. So if particle size in μm, so in the particle size is 10 μm micrometer, so particle size is 10 micrometer, then number of particles permitted is 50, and if the particle size is 25, then number of particles permitted is 5, and if the particle size is 50 micrometer, then there is nil, that there is no permutation limit of this particle size. Next we see the some substances they are used in parenteral products, and in that first one is buffers. So the buffers, in that the buffers stabilize the solution against the chemical degradations, and the examples of buffers are citrates, acetates, phosphates and tartrate buffers, etc. Next one is bulking substances or tonicity modifiers. So the bulking substances or tonicity modifiers, their examples are like glycerin, mannitol, lactose, dextrose, sodium chloride, sodium sulfate or sorbitol, etc. So they are bulking substances or the tonicity modifiers. They are glycerin, mannitol, lactose, dextrose, sodium chloride, sodium sulfate and sorbitol. Then next one is suspending agents, and the example of suspending agents, they are methyl cellulose, polyethylene glycol 4000, PEG 4000, sodium carboxymethyl cellulose, acacia, gelatin, polyvinyl pyrrolidone, that means PVP, etc. They are suspending agents, and also sodium citrate prevent the flocculation of the suspended particles. Next one is chelating agents. So the chelating agents like EDTA, that means edited disodium, edited calcium disodium and edited tetrasodium, they are chelating agents. So all the EDTA preparations are the chelating agents, and also most important is stabilizers. So, and the stabilizers are used for the stable conditions of the products. They are used for the stability of the products, maintain the stability of the product. And the examples of the stabilizers, they are glycine, creatinine, sodium capryllate, niacinamide, sodium saccharin and sodium methyl tryptophanate. So sodium methyl tryptophanate, sodium saccharin, niacinamide, sodium capryllate, creatinine and glycine. These are the stabilizers used in the parenteral products. Next one is solubilizers, wetting agents or emulsifiers used in parenteral products. Examples are polyethylene glycol 40, PEG 40 and castor oil, polyethylene glycol 300, polysorbate 20, 40 and 80, polysorbate, and also povidone and glycerin, diacetyl sodium, sulfosuccinate and lecithin. So this lecithin is most commonly used emulsifier. So there is a question in GPAT, which is most commonly used emulsifier in parenteral or commonly used emulsifier, and the right answer is lecithin. So also some local anesthetics are also used in parenteral products. They are procaine HCl, procaine hydrochloric acid and benzyl alcohol. They are used in parenteral products. And also the antioxidants used in the sterile products. In that reducing agents like ascorbic acid, sodium bisulfite 0.1%. This sodium bisulfite is most frequently used reducing agent as a class of from antioxidant used in sterile products. And also sodium metabisulfite and also sodium formaldehyde, sulfoxylate and thiourea. These are the reducing agents, and they are used as antioxidant in sterile products, in parenteral products. And also the blocking agents like ascorbic acid esters, butyl hydroxytoluene and tocopherols, they are blocking agents. And synergistics, so synergistics are ascorbic acid, citric acid, citraconic acid, phosphoric acid and tartaric acids. And in that the sodium salt of EDTA it enhances the activity of the antioxidants, and this produces by chelating those materials ions which are responsible for oxidation reaction when inert gases like N2CO2 are added. So this is most important, that the process like sodium salt of EDTA the sodium salt of EDTA enhances the activity of antioxidants, and it produces by chelating those materials ions which are responsible for oxidation reactions when inert gases like N2 and CO2 are added in the parenterals or in the sterile products. And note that before washing of the ampoules and mouth of the ampoules is rotated in the burner to remove the rough edges, and this process is called grounding. So the grounding is the process that the before washing of the ampoules and mouth of the ampoules is rotated in burner to remove the rough edges. The process called as grounding. And also the shrinkage of gel by extrusion of liquid is called syneresis. So there is a question in GPAT. Which process is called syneresis, and the right answer is shrinkage of gel by extrusion of liquid. And also reverse question is asked shrinkage of gel by extrusion of liquid is the process is called as, and the right answer is syneresis. And also in aromatic water are prepared by double or triple distillation process called cohobation. So the aromatic water are most important for us. So the aromatic waters are prepared by double or triple distillation. So there is much more care are needed for this aromatic water preparation. So there are uses like double or triple distillation, and the process is called as cohobation. So next we see some containers and closures of these parenteral products. So in that type 1 glass, so the type 1 glass is used for aqueous preparations, and the plastics in the containers and closures, plastics like polyethylene and polypropylene are used as a plastic containers, polyethylene and polypropylene. And also the rubber closures, in that the coring, coring is the generation of rubber particles cut from the closure when needles are inserted. Selection of proper gauge needed, and its proper use is rubber closure is to minimize the problems of the coring. And also most important is HEPA filter. So this HEPA filter removes the particles up to 0.3 micron with 99.97%. And also in the HEPA filter the air flow can be either horizontal or vertical with a velocity of 100 plus 20 plus minus 20 feet per minutes. And next in short we see the evaluation of parenteral products and the evaluation test of parenteral products. They are clarity test is for particulate matter and sterility test, and also pyrogen testing, in that rabbit test and lal test, and last one is liquor testing. So here is the end of these parenteral products part 3. So here is the whole chapter are finished of these parenterals, and hope you like this all videos of these parenterals. And if you like this video, please comment on comment section, and also please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and also please share this video to more and more to your GPAT aspirants and CET aspirants, because these videos are most important for this, and these videos are absolutely free of cost. So thank you for watching this video. Stay connected with PharmaXTech and stay connected with next chapter, stability, next chapter surfactant and disintegrants. So stay tuned with PharmaXTech. Thank you. Welcome back students to our new YouTube channel PharmaXTech, the